Hey everybody, it's Joel here at DesignFlow Labs, and today in this video I want to show you how we can use Podio to really help manage and orchestrate a lot of the activities that go into HR onboarding and ongoing service. Now, the reason we like Podio for this kind of work is because HR onboarding really can be a complex process. As organizations grow, as they start to scale, you grow beyond just a couple of people in the HR organization. You really have to have things orchestrated with multiple teams in the organization to ensure that the employee has a smooth experience coming on board. So what we've done and what we like Podio, to help us do from this perspective, is we're able to move and orchestrate all of those actions and tasks between teams like HR, teams like IT, external people like the employee themselves before they're on board. We're able to pull all of that together in Podio in a really nice way that we feel provides a great experience, not just for the teams doing the work, but again, for the employee as they come on board, and even after they're on board, requesting help and service from the HR teams. So what I want to walk through today is a little bit of a demo of a new version of an existing app pack that we currently have available in the Podio app market. So there is an app pack in the Podio app market called HR Onboarding and Service Management, and it does an awful lot from an HR perspective. I would say if I had to break it up into two major workloads, the first workload really is more of a recruiting and hiring type function, right? And you can see over here there's applications to, build and manage job postings. We have a candidates app that allows us to have candidates apply to those job postings. We can handle and orchestrate a lot of the back and forth that go into scheduling and conducting interviews with candidates, all the way to the point where we want to build out an offer to a candidate and have that candidate accept to become a new employee. What we plan to do here moving forward is to break these two things apart so that the original app pack that's there will still be there. It will still manage those things, more towards the efforts around, hiring and recruiting. While this new app pack will really be focused heavy, on the onboarding, offboarding actions, as well as the ongoing employee service management that HR provides. So. What will be new in this version of apps, in this new app pack I've got down here called V2, we have employees, just like we did before. We'll be able to manage our employee records. Through those employee records, we will be able to generate and manage, now both onboarding and offboarding tasks. And we're introducing what we really like, which is a new app called Task Templates. So previously, the way we had this built out in the original app pack is that when, say, for example, an employee got to a certain stage, a number of actions would be kicked off via the workflow automation. The problem was all of those actions were hard-coded into the workflow. So if you wanted to add an action or change an action, you had to go into Podio workflow automation. You had to find the right workflow. You had to go add it, via a workflow action. Wasn't the hardest thing in the world, but it wasn't all that good an experience. So we've changed that up now by using the Templates app, and we're really excited to show you how that will work. And again, the Templates app now, because it's much easier to manage, add, change those types of actions and tasks, include both onboarding and offboarding activities, as you'll see here in just a minute. So let's go ahead and jump into Podio. So here we are in our Podio workspace called HR Service Management. This will be uploaded as an app pack to the app market. And you can see now it's streamlined down. We've got our HR Requests app, our Employees app, our Onboarding and Offboarding Tasks app, and our new Templates application as well. For those of you maybe newer to Podio or haven't used Podio before, what I like about the workspace homepage is we're able to pull data and reports out of each of these applications and put them here on the activity page. So we have kind of a mini dashboard, for the HR team in this case. So not a lot going on. There's no tasks, nothing on the calendar, no requests, no tasks for onboarding or offboarding. But we'll see those get updated here as we kind of build this out. So what I want to hit on first is the new app called Templates. So as I mentioned before, all of these actions previously lived in the workflow engine. So if you wanted to add one of these, remove one of these, change one of these, whatever, you had to go into the Podio workflow engine, find the workflow, go through and add the action blocks, fill them all out. Again, it wasn't the most difficult thing. It was just really tedious depending on how many of these actions you needed to have. So what we did is we pulled all that out and we pulled it into this templates app. So you can see here, it's a very simple application. There's just a template task title, what stage does it belong in, and then the owner role that it should be tied to. So, if you take a look at this, I'm gonna kind of move this out a little bit. You can see here, the pre-start activities or tasks that need to happen really kind of fall to IT. IT needs to order and configure devices, get things like Office 365 set up, ship devices, do that sort of thing. There's probably more of those, that your organization will take on. But again, that's why we pulled this into this templates app, is because you can easily add, and remove these things much easier than you can doing it through the workflow. So we'll be leveraging these as we move forward in this demo to onboard a new employee. So let's hop over to our Employees app. So our Employees app, again, is very simple. In fact, we can go add one here for our demo. We're just going to give the employee a name. They're not on board yet, so they don't have a profile. Let's say they're going to start next Thursday. Let's say we know their email. We'll just use the support email for this one. And they are going to be part of the marketing team. So just putting in some basic information about the employee, pretty quick, pretty easy. But then what we want to do in order to help us manage all of the onboarding tasks is we want to go call out, the employee's manager, the key HR contact, and the key IT contact. Again, if you think back to those templates, those are kind of the three roles that we have working with this employee as their manager, an HR contact, and an IT contact. There may be more, but again, I think this template, is a much better place, a much better foundation to build upon to do those sorts of things than the previous one. So let's go ahead and let's just say Richard is going to be the manager, employee HR contact. So you'll see there's only one option here. We have that filtered down to only those contacts that are tagged as the HR department. And same thing for IT. So you don't have to search through the list of all the employees. You'll see, for the HR field, only the HR employees. Same thing for IT. So let's go ahead and let's save our employee. And let's do a quick refresh. Okay. So we can see our employee auto move to status not started. Their start date is the 12th. And they're a regular employee. They're not a manager. You could build this out however you want. But what I want to do now is I want to show you how we're going to leverage in this app pack date-based fields or date-based workflows to trigger some of this work. So what we've done in the workflows is we've said, you know what we want to do is 10 days prior to the employee start date, we want to move this from not started to pre-start. So we want that pre-start series of tasks to be created and assigned, 10 days out from the employee start date, with in mind that we want to have the due date be the employee start date. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, on the other screen, I'm going to pop over to workflow automation. I'm just going to force this date-based flow to run. So as I do this, we should see this update our employee here from not started to pre-start. So let me go ahead and run. I'm just going to force that workflow to run. And there it goes. So it saw that, today being the 2nd is 10 days out from our employee start date. So we wanted to move this to pre-start, which then kicked off the creation of those pre-start tasks based on templates. So let's go ahead and let's actually go take a look at those so we can see those all, tied here. Let's just open that in a new window. And we can see that based on those templates, those 3 actions or tasks were created, right? So we've got, IT needs to order and configure devices, set up credentials, ship device to employee. Pretty basic. But we can see that because Zach Morris was tied as the IT lead for this employee, Zach has now been assigned, as owner to that task. So we know the role is tied to IT. We can see the status. And we can see the due date is the employee's start date. So let's go ahead and let's actually, let's just say these are complete. So let's say, yeah, we got that done. We got that done. And we got that done. So IT is really ahead of the game from that perspective. So we're ready to go. So what I want to do now is we've got another workflow that's set up, for the employee first day to move on the actual start date, but I'm just going to move it manually instead of go mess with the dates and the flows. Let's do this real quick. So we can see here pretty easily that, all of our, current tasks are completed. We're ready to go. Again, there's a date-based flow in this app pack that triggers, on the employee start date. I'm just going to go move it manually. So we can see those first day actions get assigned. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, what the workflow is doing is it's now going and looking at those task templates, and it's looking at those task templates that are tied to the stage first day, and it's creating all of those and assigning those to the employee as well. So let's let this go ahead and run through. If I pop over and refresh here, we see those being built out. And we can see these kind of building out. It did take a little bit longer than I thought here in a previous test run, so we'll give that a second. Let's do one more refresh, and we should have them all there. There we are. All right, so now we can see, that on first day there's a lot more to do, right? If I move these in a little bit. So we can see that HR needs to send payroll and benefits information. The employee's manager, not a ton to do. They just need to make sure that they're meeting with the employee on the first date, to help facilitate a lot of this. And then for the employee, there is actually quite a few things. So, they need to confirm they've received their devices and confirm access. They need to complete the acceptable use policy. They need to go ahead with their new email address and create a Podio profile if they haven't already. They need to watch the company welcome video, meet with the hiring manager, and complete all the fun HR paperwork, that comes along with becoming a new employee. So again, those get built out, and we can see those, by role, and kind of split those out so we can see the workload, again, as employees are coming on board. So if we come back out to our dashboard, we can kind of see how we're doing, with onboarding and offboarding, type tasks here. So, all right, let's go back in. And what we're going to do is we are just going to use super menu here, and we are just going to mark all these complete because we want to fast forward. And we'll let that update real quick. All right. So let's just say now our employee is on board. All of those tasks have been marked complete. We can go ahead and add Joel's profile here, and we can say he's active. All right, so we can see now that our employee email is updated based on the email that's now tied to their Podio profile, which, in this case would be their company email address. But now we can provide ongoing service to this employee. So what I want to do now is I want to come over to HR requests. And just like the previous app pack, this is where we're leveraging a web form in order to generate this. So, if you're not familiar with Podio, we can create items or records inside of any application through a web form. This is just the out-of-the-box kind of native experience. It's fairly plain, fairly simple. There's some things we can do to pretty this up, modify this, but you can really take this link, and put it maybe in a different spot in Podio where all employees can see the link. You can embed the link in these fields, in a website somewhere. There's a lot of options there, but what I want to do is just use this basic Podio web form to go create, a new request or a new service request to the HR team. So now that I've been onboarded as an employee, and I can do certain things, what I want to do is I want to come in and I am going to select myself. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to request time off. Now, since I'm fairly new, I'm probably not going to push the envelope. I'm just going to request a couple of days off. I could put in, other information. I could attach a file if I needed to, but I'm going to submit this. And what we'll see happen is we will see our new HR request come in. Let's go ahead and open this. So there's actually quite a few things that happened in quick succession here, and I'll explain why as we look at this. So we can see that our new request was created. It knew that Richard Belding was Joel's manager because this was a time off request. It assigned it to his manager. We could see the case status move to new and the case created date, but then really quickly we see time off approved move to yes, and case status moved to close. And the reason we did that is in this app pack, there's some logic built into the workflow that says if this number of days off is requested, if it's less than or equal to 3, it's automatically going to get approved, right? So if I submit a time off request, less than or equal to 3 days, I don't need manager approval. It just auto approves. So from the employee perspective, what I get is a series of emails. So I can see here that my time off, actually it went so quick that these are kind of out of order. You can see I submitted my HR case for time off. It's being reviewed. Really didn't need to be reviewed because it was automatically approved. And it was moved to closed. So it was that easy, as an employee who in all likelihood is not living inside of the HR request service workspace. You wouldn't want all your employees there. It's easy to kind of coordinate with them, around those, those requests via email, right? So again, as the employee, I submit the request. The workflow takes over, creates the record, updates it, and communicates back the status of that. So what I'm able to do now is let's just do one more. And I will show you one other scenario. So what happens if the request is over 3 days? So let's say, now Joel comes in, request time off, maybe I need 10 days. And we're going to do that 13th through 24th. I'm going to submit that. So let's check out what happens here. We'll get an email just like we did before, letting us know that the request was received. There we go. So you can see it didn't automatically get approved. I can click this button and I can go see the status. So it's just going to load this page. These emails and this page can be configured, with look and feel, to kind of look however you want. Oh, that's not good. Live demo. Okay. Let's come back over to our request real quick. We'll keep moving. So we can see this came in. It hasn't moved to yet or to closed, and we have not yet updated this approval section. Now, here's something else we built into this. we don't even need the employees' managers necessarily inside of this HR workspace because what the workflow did is it sent an email here off to Richard Belding, and it gave him the details, right? So without Richard being part of the HR service workspace, it just let him know, hey, Joel requested 10 days off. He didn't give a description. You can approve or decline. And what's cool about this is these buttons here are actionable. And again, we can modify, the look and feel, the color of these buttons, things like that. But let's say Richard's cool with this. He clicks approve. Request approved. And we can see our updates happening here. Our time off was approved. Case was closed on the 2nd. And again, as the employee, I get an email confirming that time off was approved and that case has been closed. And again, we can manage all of this inside of the HR service management workspace here in Podio. So again, we're really excited about some of the things we can do there. Lots of different potentials and opportunities. Certainly, we're happy to work with you to further configure these, help change and modify, if you're not able to get something figured out. But if you're a fan of this, definitely subscribe. We'll be creating more videos of this nature moving forward. And if there's something we can help with, hit the link in the description and reach out and let us know. Thanks, and we'll talk to you on the next video.